Mr. President. But there's more. There's so much more. Remember, part of the narrative that we've been hearing is the Republicans, they're anarchists, right? Hostage takers.
Traitors.
Traitors. I'm getting to the traitors. But yes, traitors. We've been called any number of things. Unpatriotic.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We hate America.
In those words.
Mm-hmm.
In those words.
Yeah.
That is what, and people would say, well, they're not good. They don't say that, on any of the mainstream networks. They wouldn't just come right out. Yeah, look, you can't make this stuff up. Yes, they will. And I can show you that they will right now by playing a Morning Joe clip. This is from MSNBC. Check them out.
Double down
but
on
with
it.
one exception, which is President Obama, at the end of the day, is responsible for the country and the economy. So he could, quote unquote, win, but it would be a Pyrrhic victory. So it's a game of chicken that really neither side wants to go off the edge here.
That shows just how much they hate him and don't love the country, and that's what's scary about this. This comes down.
No.
If they actually go through with
they
it,
love the. Are you
this
saying
is
they?
about
Are you saying
something
they
else.
don't love the country?
Are you saying they do?
Yes, of course I'm saying they do.
Ted Cruz and his group
Yes, they
loves
love the country. Yes, I have never once suggested that even
We disagree.
the craziest left-wing lunatic didn't love their country.
I think he loves his
People love the
prospects
country.
to develop a database.
I think
More than he likes the country.
Ted Cruz believes that Obamacare is dangerous. I think he believes it's devastating. I think he believes, like
He's
I
allowed to
do.
believe that.
Right. And I think that he is willing to take extreme measures to stop it from happening. Hold on one second. But you suggested that some people might not love this country.
I am suggesting.
People love this country, but they believe we get to the best outcome in completely different ways.
You know what?
But
Nobody has ever done
Ted Cruz
this.
has lost that fight. He's lost the Obamacare fight. So now the question...
It doesn't mean he doesn't love America.
It does not, exactly. But so my point is, if he loves America, now he should try to initiate something where he gets something...
But hold on.
And
this
this
guy is a fresh Senator Chuck Todd. At the end of the day, John Boehner has to decide whether he's going to stand up like a man and do the right thing for the Republican Party. Do the right thing for the conservative cause.
All right. I'm sorry. That's
Yeah, I get uncomfortable hearing Joey Scarborough.
Well, he's about to say something stupid, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut him on.
Yeah.
All right. He was going good for a minute there, and then blah, 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 blah. He just started falling apart.
But Mika, she was just they don't love their country.
Who are these people to decide what defines love for one's country? Exactly what is it that they have done other than try to look pretty on a half-ass news network? What exactly has been her contribution to her nation? When was the last time she was of service to her country?
Well,
do you think she ever served in the military?
No,
I don't think
I'm going to
so.
tell you this. Other than the looking pretty part, you and I are doing the same thing that they're doing. Okay, we're getting up. We got a public platform. We say what we think. We try to encourage other people to see things the way we do. To do their research, and then we know they'll see things the way they do. All right. This don't count as serving your country.
No.
I mean, this is speaking as somebody who's doing it.
No.
I can tell you that I don't consider that. I mean,
no.
Sorry, we're entertaining.
This is a privilege.
It's a privilege, and sorry, but we're entertaining the country.
Yeah, or we're trying to anyway.
I mean, if that's service, then yes, we're all doing our bit to keep people entertained.
But do you think what would be her sacrifice? You think? Because surely that's got to define love for one's country.
I tell you what.
I mean,
I bet my next paycheck.
Yeah.
That every person sitting at that little Morning Joe table,
right,
draws more money a month than I do.
Yeah.
I'll bet my whole next paycheck that they make more money than I do. Where's the sacrifice?
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Where's the sacrifice? I bet you every single one of them. Well, since my car is my old truck out there is sitting out there needing a little bit of transmission fluid in it before it's going to run again.
Right.
Okay. I would bet you again. I'd bet you that truck. Please take it. That they drive a better vehicle than I do. One that's newer, especially since that one's about a 81.
That's a pretty safe bet. So.
No,
I don't think they. think they quite get what some of these words mean. I think they're having a hard time, and if that can be the only explanation for their distorted view of patriotism. I mean, like now Scarborough, that like I said for a minute there, he was like, "No, are you serious?"
No. I know what he was about to say. That was stupid.
Just what we said.
The Republicans should just go ahead and cave.
But you're not going to hear that from talk radio. You will hear it from a talking jackass every once in a while, but not from talk radio.
And
but hey, look, there's more.
Oh no,
there is so much.
There's more?
So much more. Now,
dude.
I teased earlier on Facebook that
and you are teased.
We would probably be willing to open up the phone lines tonight. And before I go handing out that call-in number all willy-nilly, it's conditional, all right? Now, we're going to be taking everybody's calls,
a little ways down the road.
Yeah. But, look, I really want to talk to a progressive. I mean...
Yeah, actually,
and
Richard...
You can't call in and fake that.
And Richard, Rick, look, we want to hear from y'all, too, but not tonight. Because tonight, and Marty and I talked about this on the way home from my day job this evening, that we really...
I don't want
tonight,
somebody
this is
to
the
agree
only
with
time,
me right
this
now.
This is the only time that we're ever going to just bar a bunch of people from calling in. But this is a request.
We want to hear from a progressive. An honest to God, dyed in the wool, you believe this stuff with your heart and soul, progressive.
I'll tell you what, let's even go a step further just in case. If you consider yourself a traditional liberal, but you think that you can defend the president or Obamacare, either one,
or can justify
why the
these
House
attacks,
if you can think that you can justify why Republicans should cave on this,
or justify the level of attacks against people who think differently.
Any of those points.
You're going to also have to defend why Casey and I are racists.
If you're going to call us that.
Well, look, a true dyed-in-the-wool progressive would have no problem.
Well, let's open it up because
see one that wouldn't, that wasn't proud of their, of their ideals and their beliefs.
Well, actually, see, that's the one thing they're lacking though is the cojones to actually, because the dyed-in-the-wool ones, they really know that they are statists. They know that they are. Okay, and they're not, and they also know that they don't have facts and statistics that they can point to as to how a statist society, i.e. socialist, communist, fascist, any of those would be statist type of organizations. They already know that they have to lie and that we've got the truth to prove the lies. Okay? So they won't call in. The only people I think that we're likely to get to call in would be somebody that doesn't consider themselves to be a dyed-in-the-wool progressive, because and they'll be in denial of the fact that they are at heart communist or socialist, whatever label you want to put on it.
Well, the dyed-in-the-wool progressive looks at some of the socialists and say you're not quite far to the left enough.
Yeah, well, like I said, I don't think we'll actually get anybody like that to call.
But just in case. But please do, if prove me wrong. Yeah,
somebody out there prove me wrong.
The number to call in, if you're interested and you're a progressive and you're proud of your progressivism, you can defend this stuff intelligently. The number is 256-403. And the last 4 is really easy to remember.
1791.
Now, that's a significant number.
It's the year.
Why? Whatever could it be?
That's the year that the Constitution of the United States was ratified.
See? The number's real easy. 256-403-1791. Now, be warned. We'll know if you're faking. Because you just can't fake that kind of stupid.
Yeah, Richard, don't try to call in here faking a New Jersey accent. We'll catch on to you, man.
In the meantime, there's so much more. Oh, Casey, there's so much more. You know, yesterday was Megyn Kelly's debut there on Fox. Mm-hmm. You know, for her.
Yes, and I meant to say at the beginning of the show, but we just kind of got into things. Before we go much further, let's just say congratulations.
I am going to say congratulations, but I'm also going to say that Megyn Kelly sort of bolstered mine and your opinion that Fox News is definitely part of the mainstream media.
Yeah, I figured.
The first question right out of the gate first guess right out of the gate, Ted Cruz. Mm-hmm. And your first question to Ted Cruz is, what's it like to be the most hated man in America? There's so much wrong with that question, Megyn. Mm-hmm. I cannot believe that she asked that. I really thought she was going to be better than that. And to make it worse, the poll that she cited was from Politico. Politico, Casey. Megyn Kelly asked Ted Cruz what it's like to be the most hated man in America. There's so much wrong there. And then bolstered it with...
According to...
Politico. Really? Megyn, come on. Now, she did get around to asking, Ted Cruz, was she in game here? What do you consider victory? And, Ted knows how to stand his ground with the mainstream press as good as anybody.
Yeah, and I've got to wrap it up because we're short on time, but I want to ask you before I let you go. I need a quick answer. At this point in the game, with the government shut down and now another fight looming over whether we're going to raise the nation's credit card limit, what do you consider a victory?
I think a victory is if we prevent some of the enormous harms Obamacare is inflicting on millions of Americans. I think what we need to do this week is fund government's vital priorities. For example, the VA. We've launched a national website, fundourvets.com, that says, listen, regardless of what you think about the shutdown, veterans should be a bipartisan priority. We ought to fund our vets and honor our commitments. If we take care of vital government priorities this week, and then going forward we negotiate a compromise that mitigates, that prevents the harms Obamacare is causing to millions of Americans, that will be a real victory for the American people.
Senator Ted Cruz, we're honored to have you as the very first guest.
Thank you, Ted. See, now, already Ted Cruz, by, telling the truth, he done contradicted everything Mika was just saying a while ago.
Well, yeah.
They're actually trying to fund the veterans. You notice, by the way, when the guy was asking the president that question, you could almost hear the pleading in his voice. Mm-hmm. Like, Mr. President, you've got these bills. The Republicans are saying, here, pay for this, which, by the way, is their job. That's what their job is.
That's the House.
The president doesn't quite understand what Congress's job is.
He doesn't understand what his is either.
Well, that's true. But Congress's job is to get bills off to the Senate, to authorize payment. But now the bill, first of all, for the president to sign it, it would have to get to his desk, which means that the Senate
has to actually pass it.
And to pass it, they would actually have to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, the Republicans have sent, 4 requests, by the way, for payment. Pay this, pay that. FEMA, Head Start, all them little kid programs, the cancer research, all that. They tried to. And Harry said, no, we're not even going to talk about it. We're going to table it. Whoop, it's gone. So the president can't sign them, first of all, if he can't see them. But the guy's like, these are good bills, man. The president's like, meh.
It don't hurt bad
I'm
enough
tempted
yet.
to, I want to help you out. I really do. But, gosh, man, you guys just ain't hurting bad enough.